I was at the lowest point of my life. And now I am like the happiest, the most excited, grateful, joy-filled, peace-filled person. That's just like the craziest thing to me. It is almost week 17 as of tomorrow. And by the way, I wanted to mention I now know why parents use weeks instead of months. Because I remember before having a baby, I'd be like, why do you expect me, like you say week something, and I'm like, I can't do the math. Like what is that in months? You know, we use months and days. What does 17 weeks even mean? But I understand now because as I mentioned in a previous video, there's no exact 4 weeks in a month. So you can't equate like my baby's 3 months with like 12 weeks. It just doesn't work like that, which I didn't actually realize until kind of recently. So yeah, we're week 17. We have gone past the newborn trenches and we have gone a little bit past the, okay, we're like breathing and floating. And I have to say these past, because I think the last time I posted, like I will say week 14, I don't know what happened. I just like had a sudden revelation or sudden like inspiration come over me and I recorded a bunch of videos. So all my recent videos that I've been posting were all recorded like the same week. So basically for the past 2 weeks, I haven't really recorded much and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to record something because I just can't say enough how grateful I am that I have been documenting my journey as a first-time mom, just going through this transformation. It's like people talk about how your baby grows so quickly in such a short amount of time, and they really do. It's like I look at photos and videos from when my baby was a newborn and I'm like, oh my goodness, I barely recognize that baby because you're so different. You're so much bigger, you're more alert, you're interactive, you're calm. I've been loving the stage so much. And it's just crazy. It's nuts because if you look at my videos that I first posted in this series of Reality After Birth, I was like, what is happening? Like, where am I? Why did no one warn me? Why am I dying? Like, that's how I felt. It was just an entirely different experience in reality. And I just wish, you know, first-time moms or soon-to-be first-time moms or whatever you count as being a mom, but basically pregnant friends who are about to become moms, I just wish more people had talked to me about like the reality of things, of how it will be very tough. I mean, it will likely be very tough, especially if you don't have newborn baby experience, if you haven't been around children and babies often and you don't know what to expect and you have never been through such severe sleep deprivation and, you know, just all the things. Like, and I've talked about many times, like it depends on also if you have help and if you have physical issues with yourself or your baby. You know, there's so many factors. Overall, I will say a lot of first-time moms are just shocked and surprised, especially because I've been thinking so much about how our society now has broken down to, we don't have this like co-op style village, you know, style of living. So we're not all like growing up with other families with kids and different generations. Like we kind of have a semblance of that. And I'm really grateful because I'm just like blown away constantly of how God has really done that for us in a way of not directly like we're living with people, but we're connected with different generations of people, different life stages and moms and, you know, parents. And that's another topic. But I just want to say, like, it is very hard to know what to realistically expect when most of our information these days is from social media, is from people like generically describing things but don't really have the time or maybe just even the memory. Like even me now, like we are technically 4 months. So as I was saying, right, like we're coming to 17 weeks, but it's 4 months. So we're coming up to 4 months tomorrow. And oh my goodness, like so much has happened, but I can't even remember much detail anymore of like the first, I would say 2.5 months. I documented it here. Thank God I did, because I really want to look back on the journey of how I've been continuing to grow and evolve and learn and adapt as a mom, because I have so much. And I'm just like shamelessly gonna say I'm very proud of myself. Like I know it's not me. Like I know it's like God giving me the strength, giving me the grace and the wisdom. But it's like, oh my gosh, I am like more capable than I realized. Like this whole journey, like starting from the birth, like especially giving birth, I was like, what in the world? I did not know. I'm not an athlete. I'm not like very physically fit and able. I wouldn't consider myself like, ever since when I was a kid, PE was like, I did not like PE. I did not like sports. I just always consider myself not very physically capable, I guess. I don't even know what that really means, but I went through an unmedicated natural birth and I was like, wow, I did that. Like, I can do hard things. I can take over the world. But then I was shocked by how freaking hard the newborn trenches, postpartum challenges, mental health, like all of that. You can watch my other videos to learn more about what happened, but I was just like in this living nightmare and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I really don't know how. And when you're in it, you just don't even see, like, you don't know the fog that you're in. Like, you don't know the water that you are drowning in because you're just surrounded by it. And it wasn't until about 10 and a half weeks that was one turning point. And then 3 months was another huge turning point where I just felt alive again. Like I was back. I don't even know how to describe it. And not just that, but now it's 17 weeks. I feel more alive than I had even before giving birth. And that's just like the craziest thing to me. Like thinking back about how much of a dark place I was at the lowest point of my life just a few months ago. And now I am like the happiest, the most excited, grateful, joy-filled, peace-filled version of myself that I can remember being. I don't know, maybe ever. And so it's just wild, like hormones, your baby, But also I feel like a big part of it has been, honestly, the mindset shifts that I've intentionally been making, that I've intentionally been trying to be aware of and trying to like be patient with myself in terms of learning to adjust. I've talked about this as well. It's unrealistic to expect yourself to suddenly overnight, like you didn't have a baby and now you have a baby and suddenly you're a great mom. Like it just doesn't make any sense. But I guess, when you don't know what goes into it all, I think that's where it gets you of like, oh, why is it so hard? And you just, because you're in it, you don't realize it is hard. It is really challenging. It's normal to struggle. And I just keep reading because I'm in all these like online groups and threads and communities of other moms. And I just keep reading the same thing over and over. And I just have so much empathy, so much compassion. And that honestly is what I just want to share. I mean, this is just like a update vlog, really. I don't have like a big takeaway point, but I just want to share, like, it's amazing to me because I remember when I was in the thick of things, when things were so dark and so hard and I was on my knees on the floor, just sobbing my eyes out. Like, I feel like a zombie. I'm not myself. Like, how am I gonna get out of this? It's hard to describe unless you've gone through something very similar, especially with postpartum depression. Like, oh my goodness, it was really, really hard. And I did not expect that. Just when you're in the thick of it, you don't see how there's gonna be a way out. And then with time, you just learn, you see, oh, I'm slowly getting more used to things. I'm slowly learning to adapt, how to handle all these challenges, these unexpected things and the chaos and the messiness of it and the unpredictability of it. And I'm sure, I'm still very early in my journey as a 4-month postpartum first-time mom, but already I've gained so much more confidence in myself of being able to deal with things that I'm not equipped for. And it's just crazy. Again, I just vividly remember looking back on my videos. I've documented my journey, thank God. And I really hope and pray that helps other people because it's so like evident to me now that even though when I was going through it and I felt like there wasn't a purpose to any of it, there was no rhyme or reason, I was like, why would God allow me to go through something so hard? Like, wasn't my faith, like, I felt like I intentionally built up my faith. I did all the quote unquote right things. Why God? And even a couple weeks ago, I'll be honest, even though I've been like recovering really well mentally and emotionally, and a couple weeks ago I was able to go to this women's ministry event at our church with my husband watching our baby, and I suddenly realized there, because I got a chance to finally connect like with God without any distractions and just like be ministered to and just be in the room praying with other women and receiving, you know, encouragement and truth and just being with God without needing like a little part of my brain being like mom mode. You know, you just have that mom instinct when your baby's around you and you're like, I'm responsible for my child. Like it's hard, it's really hard to turn off. And so when I was there, I broke down. I started crying and tearing up, realizing I actually still had these unresolved questions and tensions that I didn't understand. Like, God, why? Why would you let me go through something so hard? I honestly felt disappointed. I felt just lost, like confused. Like I didn't understand. And I felt a little bit hurt. Like God, I know you love me. You're a good father, but why did I go through like a Job experience where I felt like you allowed so much to be ripped away, so much pain and sorrow and suffering? Why? We're big Chosen fans. If anyone knows about the show, season 5 just came out, and so my in-laws were watching our baby thankfully that day, and we went to go watch The Chosen with some friends, and it just really struck me even more so. Like I had thought about this while I was in the fog and in the trenches, but watching the episode made me even more so realize just how Jesus himself, fully divine and fully human, the Son of God himself, willingly submitted himself to suffering so that he could also relate with us. Like I mean, there's so much to that, like theologically, but the fact that God himself chose to submit himself to suffering, like the deepest suffering, like being apart, like Jesus willingly died and took on a death where he was separated from God. God, it's so hard to describe and even wrap my head around, but like God is a triune being with Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And he was willingly gonna be like, I'm gonna die and like separate myself. That is true suffering. True suffering. The deepest form of the most horrendous, empty, sorrowful, miserable kind of suffering is separation from God. That's what hell is. Yeah, Jesus took on death for us and submitted himself to physical suffering, spiritual suffering, emotional and social humiliation and abandonment and loneliness and being misunderstood, just all kinds of suffering. And so, you know, I've been marinating on that for a while, being like, I have been through suffering in my life, of course, everybody has, but never to this degree where I felt like I was going to die. Like I literally felt like so depressed and so empty and so dark and hopeless and helpless and lost. And so anyway, fast forward, last week was like the best week yet, or this past week I should say. I was able to bake a bunch of cookies and healthy desserts again, which I forgot how much I enjoyed doing that, and it brought me so much joy, and I got to share it. I made like lactation cookies and went to go visit some other mom friends and delivered it to them, especially another mom who, she's a second time mom, but she just gave birth recently, and another mom who's been in the trenches as well with a reflux baby, even worse than our situation. Just connecting with all these moms and like showing up for them and having this compelling, you know, just this urge to want to help other moms now because of what I received from other moms and other friends. And also having been through that suffering, been through that indescribable pain, gives me this empathy, this understanding that I otherwise would not have. And particularly with this mom who has the reflux baby, I mean, their baby was in a NICU for 2.5 weeks, and she and her husband are just going through a really tough time. We were just commiserating together on how we met in a prenatal yoga class, and they talked all about preparing for the labor and birth, but nobody trains you or talks to you about what comes afterwards. And so you can just tell they were going through it, and it's been really hard for them. And I was thankfully able to just empathize and talk through it and say I understand, and just offer some words of encouragement and some tips of things that I learned through my endless hours of researching, which was a byproduct of my anxiety and depression. But you know, thankfully God redeemed that so that I could now use this information to help other first-time moms who have been asking me questions and needing my help. And I'm like, how did this happen? Where I went from being so lost and confused and just feeling so completely like I have no idea what I'm doing and I don't even know if I'm gonna make it out, to now like being so filled with life and power and ability to like help other moms and be a voice of support and help. It's just wild to me. And just what a testament It is. I just can't get over it. And I just have to document this for my future self to look back on and be reminded of how amazing God is, in that these things that you don't understand in a moment, but it deepens your faith. It empowers you to a level you never thought was possible. It forces you to be humble. It literally like breaks you down. I feel like I've been so humbled by what I went through, like more than anything before. I just felt completely broken on my knees. And it also just broke me into this phase of this level of authenticity that I never even knew I could exhibit and display, that I've wanted to display, but I never knew how. And that's what I'm trying to do with my videos on this channel, is just use my authentic struggles and ups and downs and reflections to really speak to other moms. And it doesn't even matter. I'm just so grateful. Like, I'm really just like trying to take it all in, just how good things have been with our baby, like sleeping through the night now, and just watching her fall asleep independently on the monitor is so satisfying. Okay. I have talked about this on my channel. Taking care of babies, newborn course, highly recommend. Oh, I totally forgot to mention last week, I also just somehow wrote down like an entire baby registry guide based on my experience of what I wish I had known. I did countless hours and days upon days of research for our baby registry to find all the best things, thinking that getting the right things would set me up for success postpartum, which was so false. I have so many things on that maybe I'll share in another video that I'll do. I also made this hospital checklist guide. You can find both things, by the way, in the description below and on my Instagram. But yeah, I made those things because other mom friends were asking me, and then I was like, let me just share it on my Instagram story. And then turns out like other moms found it really helpful too. So yeah, it's just been really a big blessing. I'm so grateful. I'll post more updates, but I just wanted to document this particular moment because it is amazing what God has done, and I'm still in awe. See you guys later.